If you take one thing away about Part 107 airspace, take this. Every altitude printed on a sectional chart is measured from sea level. Your 400-foot limit is measured from the ground under your feet. Mix those two up, and you will fly into controlled airspace, convinced that you are clear of it. That is not a trivia point. It is the most common way a remote pilot ends up inside Class C or Class D with no authorization, and the knowledge exam tests it directly. So let us build the whole thing from one idea. By the end, you will be able to look at any ring on a chart and answer the only two questions that matter. What class is this, and do I need permission? Start with the two abbreviations. MSL means mean sea level, height measured from the surface of the ocean. AGL means above ground level, height measured from the dirt directly beneath you. Charted airspace floors and ceilings are always MSL. Your Part 107 altitude limit is always AGL. Those two numbers only agree in a place where the ground itself happens to sit at sea level, which is almost nowhere. Now the chart. Airspace class is drawn with just two variables, color and line style, and once you know the four combinations, you can read any sectional. A solid blue ring is Class B, the airspace over the busiest airports. A solid magenta ring is Class C, a dashed blue line is Class D, and a dashed magenta line is a Class E surface area. Class G is the one that is never drawn at all. You identify Class G by the absence of everything else. Inside those rings, you will find numbers stacked like a fraction. 41/13 means a ceiling of 4,100 feet over a floor of 1,300 feet. Both in hundreds of feet, both MSL. Class D is written differently. A single number in a segmented box, like -25, where the minus sign is chart shorthand for from the surface up to, but not including 2,500 feet MSL. And here is the rule that all of it generates. Part 107.41 says you need prior air traffic control authorization to operate in Class B, Class C, Class D, and inside the lateral boundaries of a Class E surface area. In Class G, you need none. In practice, you request that authorization through LAANC, so the ring you are standing under is not decoration on a map. It decides whether you are legally allowed to take off. Let us test it. First question. A sectional shows an airport ringed by solid magenta lines, and the outer shelf carries the figures 41/13. What is the floor of that shelf? Option 1, 130 feet AGL. No, that is off by a factor of 10 and it uses the wrong reference. Option 2, 13,000 feet MSL. No, you have added a zero. The figures are hundreds of feet. Option 3, 1,300 feet MSL. That is correct. Option 4, 1,300 feet AGL. The number is right and the reference is wrong, and that is the trap the whole lesson is about. Second question. You plan to fly at a non-towered airport that the chart encloses with a dashed magenta line. What does that require? Option 1. It is a Class E surface area, so you need prior air traffic control authorization. That is correct. Option 2 says Class E starting at 700 feet AGL, so nothing below that needs authorization. Wrong, because that is the faded magenta band, not the dashed line. Option 3 calls it advisory only and says a visual observer covers you. A visual observer is never a substitute for authorization. Option 4 calls it Class G. It is not. A dashed magenta line is controlled airspace all the way down to the surface, and no control tower does not mean no controlled airspace. Third question, and this is the one the whole lesson was built for. Your launch site sits at a field elevation of 1,000 feet MSL, directly under a Class C shelf charted 41/13. You climb to 400 feet AGL. What is the situation? Option 1 says the floor is 1,300 feet AGL, so you are still in Class G. Wrong reference again. Option 2 says you are at 400 feet MSL and well below the floor. That would only be true if the ground were at sea level. Option 4 says 1,400 is still below 1,300, which is just arithmetic backwards. Option 3 is correct. 1,000 feet of field elevation plus 400 feet AGL puts you at 1,400 feet MSL, which is 100 feet inside the Class C shelf, and you need prior authorization. Read that one again because it is the whole point. Nothing about the aircraft changed. You flew a perfectly legal 400 feet AGL. The airspace changed around you because the ground was high. Anytime the terrain sits high relative to a charted floor, do the addition before you launch, not after. So remember, charted numbers are MSL, your limit is AGL, and you add your field elevation to convert. Solid blue is Class B, solid magenta is Class C, dashed blue is Class D, dashed magenta is a Class E surface area, and Class G is whatever is left over. Authorization is required in B, C, D, and Class E to the surface, and you get it through LAANC. Class G needs nothing. Practice this on real questions, free at .com/en/part-107. Airspace, regulations, weather, loading and operations in English, Chinese, and Spanish with no sign-up.